Boyfriend here?
He's not my boyfriend.
Got $6 million tucked away somewhere. You got any idea where that is? You know, lying to me? Help! It's not gonna turn out well.
The story kicks off with Tom Dolan, a highly skilled thief who has earned the nickname In-N-Out Bandit. Over the past 6 years, he's pulled off 8 bank robberies across multiple states, always managing to cover his tracks. The cops have no clue who he is. Tom regularly visits a storage unit where he keeps all the stolen cash.
Looks good.
Oh, please, allow.
And there, he meets Annie Wilkins, a graduate student studying psychology. As time passes, they start seeing each other more often, and it's clear that Tom is falling for her. After a year of dating, he suggests they move in together and buy a house. Annie, who has already been through a tough divorce and a bad past relationship, happily agrees.
It's a great neighborhood, lots of nice restaurants.
She has no idea about Tom's real identity or his history as a bank robber. Despite his past, Tom is genuinely in love with Annie and wants to turn his life around. To prove his commitment, he decides to come clean and surrender to the FBI. The next morning, he reaches out to the FBI, revealing that he is the infamous In-N-Out Bandit.
Tom Carter.
He admits to stealing over $9 million from 12 different banks across 7 states. Tom speaks to Special Agent Sam Baker and proposes a deal. He'll return every dollar in exchange for a reduced sentence,
Minimum security within an hour of Boston.
specifically requesting 2 years in a minimum security prison near the city with full visitation rights. His goal is simple. He wants Annie to see that he's serious about changing for the better.
Buddy, but I'll be happy to listen to.
However, Baker doesn't believe him. The FBI has received plenty of fake confessions over the years, so he assumes Tom is just another fraud. Still, he agrees to a meeting at the Charleston Hotel, but hands the case over to 2 agents, John Nivens and Ramon Hall, to look into it.
All the details are in here. Would you boys look into it?
2 days go by, and Tom hears nothing from the FBI, which frustrates him. He calls again and gets connected to Agent Sean Mayers, who coldly tells him that 2 agents are already working on his case before abruptly hanging up.
Special Agent Myers, how can I?
Right after that call, there's a knock on his door. Tom opens it to find Nivens and Hall, ready to listen to what he has to say.
Evans, you the bandit?
Now in their custody, Tom begins explaining his robbery methods. He reveals that he targeted small-town banks, specifically ones that had been around since the 1950s.
Guarantees.
Of course,
His approach was clever. He only picked banks that had an empty building next door. This setup allowed him to drill through the common wall and access the vault undetected.
The money.
Exactly.
He would strike on Friday nights, using gelatin explosives to deal with bolts and locks before patching up the wall to erase any evidence. Before even considering a plea deal, the agents demand proof. Where's the stolen money?
So let's say we do believe you.
Tom gives them the address of the storage unit and even offers to go with them, but Hall refuses. Instead, he takes the key from Tom and tells him to wait at the hotel.
Boston with visitation rights.
When the agents get to the unit, Nivens quickly realizes they have a golden opportunity. Rather than turning in the stolen money, he suggests they keep it. His plan? Use it to pay off his mortgage and send his kids to college. Hall, on the other hand, isn't on board with the idea. While he doesn't expose Nivens, he refuses to go along with the theft. Meanwhile, Annie unexpectedly shows up at the hotel. Nivens and Hall, who want to keep things under wraps, pretend to be Tom's old friends, and Annie buys it. She's thrilled to hear that Tom is making plans for their future together and leaves happily. At the same time, Agent Mayers informs Baker about Tom's confession, making Baker realize that no one has properly followed up. Back at the hotel, Nivens and Hall decide to stash the stolen cash somewhere safe and return. When Annie arrives, Nivens confirms that they found the money, but he now has a different plan, getting rid of Tom for good. Just as he's about to make his move, Tom throws him off by revealing that only $3 million was in the storage unit, meaning $6 million is still missing. Before Nivens can react, Baker walks in and is shocked to see Nivens holding a gun. Not wanting to raise suspicion, Nivens keeps his plan under wraps and forces Hall to let Baker in at gunpoint. A tense standoff follows, and in the chaos, Nivens shoots Baker dead. Tom tries to stop him, but in the struggle, both of them fall out of the window. Tom sees Annie nearby frozen in shock, and shouts at her to run. With bullets flying, Tom and Annie make a run for it. Nivens and Hall try to take them down, but they manage to escape. During the chase, Tom cleverly snatches Hall's gun, making their pursuit even trickier. Annie, now completely confused and scared, demands to know what's going on. Tom promises to explain everything once they're safe. When they finally find a place to hide, he tells her the truth. He's a bank robber, but he never killed anyone or spent a dime of the stolen money. He reveals that he got into crime after his father was unfairly fired and cheated out of his pension by a corrupt CEO who embezzled company funds. His father, devastated by both the job loss and the death of his wife, never sought justice. Fueled by anger, Tom took matters into his own hands. However, meeting Annie changed everything. She gave him a reason to walk away from crime, and he hadn't robbed a single bank since they met. Meanwhile, back at the Charleston Hotel, Mayers is devastated by Baker's death and vows to bring his killer to justice. Nivens wastes no time spinning a false story. He tells Mayers that Tom murdered Baker and falsely claims they found nothing in the warehouse. Tom, knowing that Annie is now a target, urges her to leave town to stay out of trouble. As they part ways, he promises they will meet again. Annie, trusting him, tells him to prove his innocence in Baker's murder. They share an emotional goodbye before she boards a bus. The next morning, Mayers, Nivens, and Hall go through Tom's file and security footage, quickly identifying Annie. They learn about her recent divorce and decide to track her down. Meanwhile, Annie calls Tom from the storage unit, warning him that the security cameras captured Nivens and Hall taking the stolen money. She managed to retrieve the footage before it could be erased. Tom tells her to get out immediately, then calls 911 for backup, but ultimately decides to go there himself. Just as Annie is about to leave, Nivens shows up, demanding to know where the rest of the stolen money is. When she tries to escape, he blocks her path. John attacks Annie, desperately searching for the memory card with the CCTV footage. She tries to fight back with a pair of scissors, but he easily overpowers her, knocking her out. Before he can do anything else, Ramon steps in, convincing John that they need to leave before anyone finds Annie. Tom arrives at the storage unit and finds Annie badly hurt. Without wasting time, he rushes her to the hospital but quickly leaves before the cops show up. While driving, he calls the FBI and tricks Myers into putting John online. John acts clueless about Annie, but Myers, sensing something odd, decides to check on her at the hospital himself. Meanwhile, a local cop recognizes Tom on the street and gives chase. At the same time, John and Ramon track him down and move in. Tom manages to hide behind some bushes, waiting for the right moment. As soon as John and Ramon pull up, Tom reverses into their car, trapping them. John starts shooting, and Tom fires back. The gunfight catches Myers' attention, and he starts chasing Tom instead. Tom sets a trap for Myers, leading to a hand-to-hand fight. During the struggle, Tom accuses John of attacking Annie and insists that John is the real criminal. He even throws Ramon's gun to Myers as proof. Myers tries to convince Tom to surrender, promising to handle things properly, but Tom isn't ready to trust him just yet. He escapes, determined to deal with John in his own way. Later that night, Tom checks in on Annie by calling the hospital. The doctors say she's expected to recover, but can't speak just yet. Meanwhile, John heads to the hospital with the intention of making sure Annie doesn't make it. But when he sees Myers in her room, he backs off. The next morning, Myers confronts John, questioning him about Tom's accusations and the missing money. John tries to play it cool, but Myers isn't buying it. He hands Ramon's gun back and tells both agents to get back to work. While John remains focused on covering his tracks, Ramon is visibly nervous about getting caught. That night, Tom follows Ramon home. Sensing his distress, Ramon's wife tells him to do the right thing. He reassures her that everything he's doing is for their family, but deep down, he knows the walls are closing in. Suddenly, the garage door creaks open, and Tom appears. He quickly disarms Ramon and demands his help in proving his innocence. Tired of covering for John, Ramon reveals a secret. He managed to steal the security footage from Annie before John could get to it. He warns Tom that John is planning to kill Annie and urges him to get to the hospital fast. Tom wastes no time. He sneaks in the hospital, gets Annie out, and takes her to a safe spot in his hotel room. The next morning, as Annie starts recovering, she insists on helping him. A short distance from John's house, Tom calls John and demands that he confess. John laughs it off and threatens Tom instead. But when Tom starts counting down from 10, John panics as his house suddenly catches fire. Forced to jump out, he barely escapes. With the chaos unfolding, Tom gives Annie the security footage and instructs her to hand it over to Myers. Meanwhile, John scrambles to a hideout and calls Ramon, demanding they meet at the warehouse. Annie meets Myers and hands over a memory card, explaining that Tom isn't the bad guy. To further prove his intentions, she unlocks another storage unit, revealing the remaining $6 million that Tom had hidden. At the warehouse, John, armed with 2 guns, prepares for the showdown. What he doesn't realize is that Tom is already there. Tom pretends to have taken Ramon hostage and demands John surrender. Furious at Ramon's betrayal, John shoots and kills him. He then turns on Tom, and another intense gunfight breaks out. John manages to grab the money and escape, leaving Tom injured. Tom, however, has one last trick up his sleeve. He calls John and tells him he's planted a pressure-sensitive bomb under his car seat. Panicked, John is forced to sit still, unable to move while he waits for the bomb squad. Meanwhile, Tom retrieves a recording of John's confession from Ramon's body and takes a moment to mourn his death. As the police surround John's car, the bomb squad moves in, only to discover the device is fake. Furious and out of options, John is arrested. Myers later receives an envelope containing the recording, proving that John was behind everything, including Ramon's murder. Later, Myers meets with Annie and acknowledges Tom's efforts in bringing John to justice. Knowing he must face the consequences of his past, Tom turns himself in, expressing his desire to turn his life around. Seeing his sincerity, Myers promises to do what he can to get Tom a reduced sentence. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below. Got any suggestions for future videos? Let us know. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends, family, or anyone who loves action-packed stories.